Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has a new fighter, and his name is Terry Bogard. Also known as the Legendary Wolf, Terry here is from popular SNK games such as Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, which were popular fighting games back in the arcade glory days. For today's video, I wanted to provide my thoughts and opinions on Mr. Bogard, and I wanted to discuss whether he'll be an unstoppable obstacle or a valuable asset on my quest to one day meet Super Smash Bros. Series creator, Masahiro Sakurai. Alright, Terry. Alright, Legendary Wolf. Let's see just how okay you truly are.
Oh man, are you ready for this? This battle is about to explode!
Hello humans, I'm Yoshiller, and welcome back to another episode of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Road to Sakurai! One of the largest things that easily shakes up the competitive metagame of Super Smash Bros. Is the introduction of a new character. And sure enough, that happened on November 6th, 2019, as Terry Bogard was released as a new downloadable fighter. And as soon as he was released, it didn't take long for fans to jump in and start practicing his technical playstyle. But on top of being a game that's fun for competitive people like me, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is also a bit of a video game celebration. The main appeal of playing this game is its simplistic gameplay, yeah, but the draw of the game that makes so many people hyped is the fun of seeing so many characters from so many different franchises and companies and parts of history and all that great stuff interact with one another. They all get to be in the same game. You see people tweet out all the time how crazy it is that Mario can run up and punch Pikachu in the face, or how a character like Bayonetta can be in the same game as Kirby. You get the idea. There are so many games and characters crossing over here, and it seems like at this point, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has just about represented every iconic Nintendo character in some form or another, and so now the game is all about showing the best of what other video game companies have to offer. It's about saying, hey, your game is cool, your company is cool, your franchise is cool, you get to be in Smash. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and the Super Smash Bros. Series in general just show how great video games truly are. Historically, it was Snake and Sonic the Hedgehog that were the characters that opened the doors to turning Super Smash Bros. Into this video game celebration. These two characters showed that Super Smash Bros. Was a video game crossover that could have more than just Nintendo characters. And while nobody would have ever suspected the fact that Snake would join the fray, well, it was crazy then, and it's still crazy now. But the fans figured, okay, if non-Nintendo characters are gonna show up, then Sonic has to appear. He's not owned by Nintendo, but he's important to Nintendo's history. And on October 10th, my birthday, in 2007, it was announced that Sonic indeed would show up. And at the time, this was sufficient. Sure, we all wanted more third-party characters, myself included, but we were content with the fact that Sonic showed up. But then a new Smash game was announced, and as such, the next iconic video game character, to most fans anyway, would be Mega Man. And so, Mega Man joined the mix as well. And since Namco helped develop the latest Super Smash Bros. Games, fans figured, well, Pac-Man is one of the most iconic video game characters ever, and since Namco owns Pac-Man, he has to show up in Smash. And the Smash team agreed. So now that Mario, Sonic, Mega Man, and Pac-Man were all in the same video game together, that would have been a fair place to end this whole third-party crossover stuff, right? And sure, that would have been a good place to end this whole third-party character stuff. But then we got Ryu from Street Fighter, Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, Bayonetta from Bayonetta, Simon and Richter from Castlevania, Joker from Persona 5, Heroes from Dragon Quest, and Banjo and Kazooie from Banjo-Kazooie. After Pac-Man was added, I couldn't help but think, who could possibly be next? And then we eventually got Cloud, and I thought, okay, but that's gotta be as far as Nintendo will go, right? No other third-party character could be as drastic as adding him. And then Castlevania characters were added, and I thought, yeah, that makes sense, but who could possibly be next? And then Joker got added, and again I have to ask, who else could possibly be next? Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a particularly interesting game because most of the new characters that have been added this time around were heavy fan requests. People have wanted Ridley and King K. Rool since the days of Brawl, and ever since Splatoon hit the market, people immediately wanted to see an Inkling join the fray. This is definitely one of those games that was specifically designed to cater to longtime fans. Whereas previous Smash games mainly focused on adding more relevant characters with one or two obscure picks, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate didn't care how obscure the character was. If fans wanted that character had a shot of appearing. But when Joker was added, I had to rethink things a bit. The thing is, Nintendo specifically asked fans which characters they want to see in Super Smash Bros. By releasing a poll back in 2015. We know now that Bayonetta was actually one of the most popular characters that was requested, and that's why she got to appear in Super Smash Bros. And we can also confirm that King K. Rool ranked very highly as well. And so, I gotta imagine that the requests from this poll helped influence the fact that a Dragon Quest character would be a good idea, and that fans really wanted Banjo-Kazooie in the game. But I don't think people voted for Joker, and to be fair, we didn't quite know what this poll would lead to or what was allowed. For example, if characters like Cloud and Simon Belmont already existed in Smash and then this poll got released, I imagine everyone's answers would have been completely different. You would have known that the doors were wide open and that practically any character could be requested. I assume that King K. Rool is one of the most popular characters, not just because people wanted him since Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but because we didn't know what the rule was with third-party characters. But now that we know that any third-party character is possible, well, any third-party character is possible. But the thing with Joker was, not only was he not a common character at the time, his game didn't even exist at the time that the poll was open. So it must be that Nintendo and the Smash team really just thought it'd be a cool idea to add Joker. And it was. And it is. And obviously not every single decision for this game will be made specifically to cater to fans. The designers will do some things that they want to do too. And so when it was announced that there'd be 5 new characters coming to Smash as downloadable content, it really left other fans and myself wondering, what's possible? Starting off with Joker just showed that Nintendo wanted to do something cool. Adding in a Dragon Quest rep was a long time coming. And adding Banjo was both a crowd pleaser and another door-opening idea. But even after Banjo, I had to ask, who else could there be? I mean, I could guess, but I feel like most of my guesses would be wrong at this point. We're requesting characters that we would have never requested 4, 5, 10 years ago. And back in September, the Smash team threw another curveball when they revealed the 4th fighter, Terry Bogard. Most people looked at this character and said, who? But at least I know who this character is. Or at the very least, I know that his ownership company was SNK and that he was a fighting game character. I'd seen the character around before with his iconic red jacket and hat, but I didn't know much about Terry's background or history or playstyle. But I think what was cool about Terry's reveal was that, well, nobody predicted Terry would ever appear in Smash. People historically have correctly guessed which characters would appear in Smash, whether it be through the Smash team dropping little hints here and there, or whether it be due to some sort of leak. But back when the team first announced that they'd be making downloadable content for Smash Ultimate, nobody put Terry on their predictions list. Or at least I didn't see any major outlets or content creators make this prediction. Although it did get revealed just a few days before Terry's reveal that Terry's ownership company SNK would be involved with Smash in some sense, fans still weren't quite sure that the next character would be from Fatal Fury. Even Terry's actual reveal trailer seemed like it was built around this idea. And even if you did know or correctly guess that the best SNK representative would be Terry Bogard, the trailer was cleverly made in such a way that you knew you'd eventually see the reveal. You just didn't know how you were going to see it. All in all, even if I didn't personally think Terry would ever appear in the game, I know for a fact that I wasn't the only person that was caught completely off guard by his reveal, let alone SNK's involvement at all.
There it is. Neo Geo. Yeah.
Metal Slug, baby.
Metal Slug. Metal Slug.
No, KOF.
KOF.
KOF?
Yeah.
The invite.
They're trying to grab the invite.
Geese.
Is it geese?
No.
Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get it?
Yori?
They want us to guess.
Nope.
Who is it?
It's Terry. It's Terry Bogard.
It has to be Terry Bogard.
At this point, it has
Who
to be
else
Terry.
is it going to be?
It's gonna be
Metal Slug rolls in with a tank.
It's Terry. Who else?
Everyone else tried, so you can't get mad.
Of course. There he is.
Oh, he looks good.
Oh,
Terry
yeah.
Faces of Fury, baby. Let's go.
Now in development. All right.
Oh, come on.
We got the confirmation. Yeah.
But, okay.
Banjo comes out today. We'll see Terry later.
Fatal Fury. Yep.
Can there really be only one left?
Oh my God.
No.
What?
Season 2!
More DLC fighters for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Recording it
Outside the 5 fighters include fighters.
The game's not gonna end. We're gonna get to 100 fighters.
To be honest, I knew more about Mai Shiranui than I did Terry. Otherwise, I mainly knew SNK as the company that made Metal Slug, and that one golf game that I see in arcades from time to time. Oh, and they made the Neo Geo. How could anyone forget that when such a catchy song was made about it?
Neo Geo, Neo Geo. 4 white buttons and 2 joysticks. Neo Geo, Neo Geo. Cool red cabin and name that shit.
Ah, good times. The only 2 games that I've ever played that have had Terry in it were Capcom vs. SNK 2 and King of Fighters 14 back when I was invited as a guest on Super Couch Fighters. But in the former instance, I think I mostly stuck to Capcom characters. I mainly used Balrog whenever I played Street Fighter 2, and I think I mainly used Balrog whenever I played this game too. I guess I just like boxers, huh? And in the latter instance, I took part in a preset team that didn't have Terry on it. To be honest, I recall enjoying both games, but I just don't remember much about them beyond that. The main thing I remember about Capcom vs. SNK 2 at least was that the announcer was freaking awesome.
This is gonna be a match to remember. Fight!
But that's it otherwise. I'm familiar with fighting game lingo. I was never good at fighting games, but I played my fair share of Marvel vs. Capcom and Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. But I'd be lying if I said I'd ever even discussed King of Fighters with some of my other friends. It was never really a game that I paid much attention to. So when Terry Bogard was announced as a playable fighter for Smash, I was excited. Now a whole new part of video game history was made apparent to me. But at the time, I was left wondering, why Terry? Upon further research, I learned that Terry Bogard was a particularly popular character among those that lived in Central and South American countries. My understanding is that SNK had plenty of arcade cabinets across those countries in places like laundromats and grocery stores. To be real with all of you, I don't know much about the video game market in any region besides North America or Japan, and even then I hardly know anything, so I was surprised to see that Terry was such a well-known and beloved character in these other parts of the world. Did people vote for Terry back in the Smash ballot back in 2015? I'm not sure about that, but there's no denying that Terry is quite an icon, bigger than I thought actually. And after reading through some more information, I learned that Masahiro Sakurai himself was quite the SNK fanatic. He apparently played Fatal Fury and King of Fighters games all the time, and in a way, they helped influence some of his design choices when he started developing Super Smash Bros. Now, naturally, Street Fighter is the more successful fighting game franchise. I know more about that game, I can name the characters in it, I'm much more familiar with that game because it's more successful. And including a character, let alone 2, from that series into Smash is historical in its own right. But when I think of incorporating another fighting game or another fighting game character, my ignorant mind defaults to Tekken or Mortal Kombat. I thought those were the next most popular fighting game franchises, but apparently Fatal Fury and King of Fighters are up there too. And according to Sakurai, in keeping with this idea of Smash being a video game celebration, then an SNK representative was the next important choice. As evidenced by Sakurai's latest presentation showcasing Terry, you can tell that he was so excited to work with this IP. If Banjo and Kazooie were added to throw the fans a bone, then Terry was added to not only throw more fans a bone, but to throw Sakurai himself a bone as well. But you know what the biggest takeaway out of all this was? Look at all the music we got! We even got some Metal Slug music. I at least recognize those. I thought Castlevania pleased me with the music, but look at all this. Oh, it's so good. Normally, I try to only limit myself to 4 songs per stage, and I had a hard enough time doing that for the Mega Man and Castlevania stages, but here, I might have to rotate 4 songs out every once in a while. It's all just so good. But okay, that's the music. Let's talk about the character. Terry is here, he's pleasing crowds, he's tearing through the competitive scene, and he's mixing up things for everyone. I'm happy he's here, not just because it's always fun to have a new character to see, but also because I've now been exposed to so many great songs and fun pieces of SNK history. But now that Terry is here, let's discuss how the metagame was so we can talk about how Terry can potentially mix things up. Prior to Terry's release, the most recent downloadable fighter was Banjo and Kazooie, and there was a good 2-month gap between the release of Banjo and the release of Terry. During this time, nothing too drastic happened. People were still yelling about wanting to ban Hero, but that kind of died down a bit. People started using the Sans Mii costume, but that kind of died down a bit too. Banjo rose in popularity, and Banjo players are still quite common, with many top players switching to Banjo in many important matches, and I too have added Banjo to my main set of characters that I use. But Banjo didn't really drastically change anything. In fact, from what I saw, the metagame was fairly evened out with no one character, old or new, dominating the competitive scene. Sure, there were probably more Snake and Joker players than, say, Dr. Mario or Rosalina players, but fortunately, it was not as if just one character was constantly winning over and over. Joker, Hero, and Banjo each fit nicely into the roster, with them being played regularly, just like any other character would. These new characters didn't outshine the characters of old. But aside from competitions, what was weird was that we didn't have much Terry information to go off of. We were told that Terry would be released in November, but due to the limited amount of gameplay that was provided for the fighter, fans didn't dig much into speculation for the guy. guy. In fact, many fans just wanted Terry to be released because they were eager to know who the character after him would be. So, people such as myself just tried to adjust to Banjo at the time, as he was the new hotness. He didn't take over the scene, but at least on my end, I scored a few victories with him at some tournaments. But again, aside from a few noteworthy victories with this bear and bird duo, that was about it. People were happy that he was in the game, but his popularity was a bit different from Joker, where everybody played Joker the second he was released. When I play online, I'll still see all sorts of characters pop up, but I'll probably find more Joker players than I will Banjo players. With that said, I'll still see Banjo players, and I'll probably see more of them than I will tons of other characters. Banjo's still a popular character, but he's not as popular as Joker, and anyway, I think I'm repeating myself now. Just as the competitive community started to get used to settling down and adjusting to Banjo being in the scene, Terry was finally released. And Terry in particular was made with competitive players in mind. The day Terry was released, Sakurai provided a 45-minute presentation that went over just about every aspect of the character and the stage that was released alongside him. Sakurai made it clear that the establishing feature that would make Terry a unique fighter would be the fact that he could utilize command inputs. While the concept of command inputs itself in Smash is not quite unique, the idea that Terry could get a supercharged special move with command inputs that would be different based on how high his percentage was, that was the unique factor behind him. On top of this, Terry was released early in the morning for American viewers, so players had all day to practice with him. And on the evening that Terry was released, I attended a local tourney that I regularly visit called Wednesday Night Fights. Terry was allowed in this event, and so many players competed with him. I was not one of those players, as I'd already done something similar with Banjo in the past, and I didn't have much interest in trying to main Terry anyway. This time, rather than immediately jump into another new character again, I just wanted to practice with the 4 characters that I already frequently use. But unfortunately, that meant that I didn't get to play against any Terry players while I competed. But on the positive side, many of the Terry players that did attend this event did get to play on the event's live stream, so I have plenty of footage to showcase in that regard. Since neither I nor my opponents used Terry, I wasn't featured on the live stream. But that's okay, because I was featured back when Banjo was first released, and it's only fair that other players get the spotlight too. Some Terry players picked up on the character super quickly. In fact, in the few days that he's been available to the public, it seems that these so-called command inputs aren't scaring away any new players. In fact, these command inputs are drawing players in, and they're just so satisfying to land. Even getting hit by one, I feel like I deserved it. It just looks cool. On top of all that, Terry has plenty of combo setups, and already players have landed some pretty nasty stuff. It seems like Terry's biggest downfall is his recovery. While he has different attacks he can use to try and mix things up, his recovery trajectory itself is still rather predictable. This is quite interesting though, as whenever Terry is over 100%, some of his attacks change, so he's supposed to be some sort of powerhouse comeback character when he's close to losing. Usually when my opponent is in high percentages, my opponent is the one that tries to flee. But now when I play against Terry, when my opponent is in high percentages, I'm the one that tries to flee, because now Terry is so much stronger. But at the same time, if Terry gets hit once or twice when he's at a high percentage, he probably won't make it back to the stage. I imagine that it's not too difficult to attempt to gimp the character, and even if I can't properly gimp the guy every single time, I don't really feel a risk in trying to do so anyway. The risk I feel isn't when Terry's recovering, it's when he's actually on the stage and I'm trying to run up to him. All it takes is one Buster Wolf to knock me off. However, aside from Terry's command inputs, Terry's main method of taking stocks off his opponents are from using smash attacks. His throws are meant for combo setups, and that's fine, but unless he chases you off the stage and spikes you, it seems like he has to rely on smash attacks and command inputs to actually deal enough knockback to kill you. For as flashy as Terry's moves can be, you kinda know when he's going to use them. Again, this is just my knowledge from a few days of playing as and against the character, and this is just from me watching current Terry results on stream. Obviously, there might be some different playstyles that I don't yet know about, but as it stands, it may just be safe to call Terry an all-around or technical character. He's not super defensive, he doesn't require many setups, his best assets aren't immediately apparent to players, but aside from some combos, Terry doesn't particularly specialize in anything either. His defining factor is that he's at his best when he's close to losing, but that in and of itself is pretty cool. So let me answer this. Will I, Yoshiller, be maining Terry Bogard? The answer is no. For as happy as I am that this guy is in the game, and for as much as I love his victory jingle, I'm still just gonna stick to Yoshi, Ice Climbers, Little Mac, and Banjo. There are gameplay mechanics that I like about him, and it's super satisfying to land some of his attacks, but I don't want to play more than 4 characters, and there aren't enough aspects about Terry that make me want to drop one of my current characters in place of him. And I don't really foresee Terry destroying the metagame, but I don't really foresee him immediately dying in popularity either. I predict that he'll have the same popularity and level of annoyance as Ness. He'll show up pretty regularly so that players won't be surprised when he appears, and he'll be annoying to players that don't quite know what to do to counter the matchup, but he'll be a pretty even match even to those who know how to space themselves and play accordingly. I don't know where I'd place Terry on a tier list because I don't really know how to put a tier list together for this game anyways, but I can safely say that he's good. He doesn't seem broken in any way yet, and at the moment, I enjoy playing against him from time to time. But otherwise, to me at least, he'll be known as the character that expanded my gaming horizon. He'll be known as the guy that brought 50 awesome songs with him, and he'll be known as the guy with the funny quotes. It's cool that he's here, and it's cool that SNK got to be involved with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But now that Terry is here, I have to again wonder, where else could Smash possibly go next? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Until the next fighter is released, it's time for the era of Terry. For now, that wraps up this episode of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Road to Sakurai, and I'd like to thank you all for watching. It's fun being able to document these moments of Smash history. Otherwise, I hope to see you all in future videos. And at the very least, I hope that you thought this episode was okay. I had to get at least one in there. All right, bye-bye, humans. Whoosh.
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed what you saw and want to see more, be sure to click the subscribe icon underneath the video. Be sure to click on the bell icon to be notified when a new video is out. Also, one of the best ways to support me is to follow me on Twitter. On there, you can see announcements, updates, and previews for all of my upcoming content. My tag is @Yoshiller. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you all in future videos. Whoosh!